Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the largest Veterans Day observance in Lake County. We are here today to pay tribute to all veterans, past and present, who have given so much of themselves through their military service. We are especially proud of the many graduates who have served or who are currently serving for our country. At this point, would any of our guests who are alumni of Mundaline High School please stand? In addition, you will also see many other pictures of veterans in our Wall of Honor and our main hallway. 6 of our MHS graduates gave the ultimate sacrifice. They gave their lives for our country during the Vietnam War. Today we reflect on what service is to our country and how to honor and support those who choose to enter into military service. In a few moments, you will hear from Colonel Michael Peck, who will speak about the importance of honoring those who are serving in the military and why Veterans Day is so important. At this time, please stand for joining together in the national anthem and our Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing. Will you now please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Will you now please pause for a moment of silence? Thank you. You may now be seated.
Sergeant Brian Anderson from Rolling Meadows, Illinois, lost both of his legs and one arm during the Iraq conflict. Today, he chooses to live by 3 words: live, love, thrive. Sergeant Anderson now works to help veterans all over the country in their recovery from injuries and return to a normal life. This poem was written by a Mundaline veteran to honor Sergeant Anderson and all veterans who have returned home from war. With a Tear in Your Eye by Lawrence M. Pimentasi. You gave your service, we gave you our praise. You lived through this horror, now struggle through the days. Your legs and arms once straight and true, the wages of war left them useless to you. Now look up to heaven and see your flag fly. You'll understand freedom with a tear in your eye. No climbing the stairs, no chasing the dog. You're sitting there lonely, can't rise from the fog. You looked up to God for the answer to this. He said, "Son, it was not I who chose this abyss. Now look up to heaven and see your flag fly. You'll understand freedom with a tear in your eye. You cry and labor and shudder with pain. I see you gave more for freedom to gain. You committed your life, but you gave them much more. I pray they forget not the horrors of war. Now look up to heaven and see your flag fly. You'll understand freedom with a tear in your eye. You did it for country and God above. You did it for peace, which we all love. You fought to free families under the dome of oppression and torture. They had no home. Now look up to heaven and see your flag fly. You'll understand freedom with a tear in your eye. You'll understand freedom with a tear in your eye.
You probably know that every year on November 11th, Americans celebrate Veterans Day to honor the millions of men and women who have served or are serving in the nation's armed forces. But bet you didn't know the whole story behind the holiday. For starters, it wasn't originally called Veterans Day, but Armistice Day, to commemorate the truce signed between the Allies and Germany in World War I on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. The first Armistice Day in the U.S. was celebrated on November 11th, 1919. All business was suspended for 2 minutes starting at 11 a.m., and parades and public gatherings were held to commemorate the occasion. Later, America also began honoring its unknown soldiers on Armistice Day, a tradition that continues today. At 11 a.m. every Veterans Day, a color guard ceremony represents all branches of the military at the Tomb of the Unknowns in Arlington National Cemetery. In 1954, the name was changed to Veterans Day, following a national campaign to have the day honor all veterans, not just those who served in World War I. And did you know, for 7 years, Veterans Day was actually celebrated in October? In 1968, Congress moved Veterans Day to the fourth Monday in October so that government employees could enjoy a long weekend. But in 1975, President Gerald Ford returned Veterans Day to November 11th due to the historical significance, and that's where it sits on the calendar today. And do you know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day? Both of them honor those men and women who have served in the military, but Memorial Day honors America's war dead, while Veterans Day honors all American veterans, living and dead. The U.S. Census Bureau estimates that there are currently over 21 million living military veterans in the United States. More than 16 million of these served during times of war, while 5.5 million served during peacetime only. So this Veterans Day, don't forget to say thanks to some of the millions of men and women who have served our country.
And now, our Mundelein High School Wind Ensemble would like to perform a medley of songs consisting of the music from our armed forces, the Army, the Coast Guard, the Marines, the Air Force, and the Navy. To all of our veterans who are present today, we invite you to stand as you are able and be recognized when you hear the song from the branch from your service. To all others present, we invite you to join in recognizing those who served with your applause. Thank you. United States Army. The United States Coast Guard. The United States Marines. The United States Air Force. The United States Navy.
At this time, please welcome Colonel Michael Peck, or our Nancy Tolan, our staff member, to please introduce our speaker today.
It is truly an honor to welcome to MHS the veterans in our community. As the daughter of our guest speaker, I would like to share with you how proud I am to have been raised by one of our veterans. As you listen to the presentation, please keep in mind that all of these veterans have stories and experiences that are very deserving of your time and attention. If you are ever presented with the opportunity to personally meet and have a conversation with a vet, I promise you it will be well worth your time. I personally am here today because my dad went directly from high school into a career in the military, a fourth-generation veteran following his dad, a World War II paratrooper. My dad served in the Vietnam War, where he met my mom on leave in Hong Kong. I know that my dad loves to share his stories with his grandchildren, who have heard some of them, even many of them, several times. These veterans have all served our country, so that each of you sitting here today in this gym has the freedom to make choices for your future. My father sees all opportunities available in the military. Those opportunities and options are there for you too. So now at this time, please help me welcome our guest speaker, Colonel Michael Paul Peck.
All I can say is wow. I know for many of our Vietnam veterans here, this is the reception we didn't get back in the 60s. Thank you, Underline. Good morning. Thank you, Mrs. Cole, for that kind introduction. Before I introduce my fellow veterans, I'd like to acknowledge my two favorite teachers, Nancy Tolan and Tracy Carlson. I am a fourth-generation veteran. I'm also a true Mustang. Now, a Mustang is a soldier who was enlisted first and then became an officer. One thing about Mustangs, we're the only ones who can get a good conduct medal. Officers can't. Here's a picture of Tracy's alter ego, Captain Carlson. She's my fifth-generation veteran. And this is our sixth-generation veteran, Cadet Kenzie Tolan, 2016 Mustang, now at ISU. Kenzie told me that when she went on her first week in training, it was the boys that got lost on the land nav course. At this time, will all the veterans stand to be recognized? Please, gentlemen, stand up, and ladies. And now, the important part of this group, will the spouses of the veterans please stand? They're the ones who are here to put up with the family and the husbands and wives. I see many familiar faces out there, but I do need to recognize one person. Nick Kahns, would you please stand? Nick is the president of the Veterans Assistance Commission, Lake County. I want to publicly thank Nick for his volunteer time with No Veteran Dies Alone. I couldn't do what Nick does, and that is to stay with the veterans who are under hospice care until their death at the Lovell Federal Health Care Center. Nick, thank you very much. While we were up in the reception room, I was given a note and asked to make a comment. 1974 Mundelein graduate Carl Paul passed away last week. He was a Vietnam veteran, and we give our sympathy to his family. Thank you. Today, American service members are serving in more than 19 countries. Recently, 4 soldiers were killed in Niger. They were there to help that country fight terrorists and free the people of Niger from terrorism. Terrorists from ISIS, the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, and Boko Haram were present. Recently, Boko Haram kidnapped 300 Nigerian schoolgirls and sold them into slavery. This is the enemy that our soldiers are fighting today. The war on terror has brought our best in America. Patrick Daniel Tillman was a professional football player in the NFL, the National Football League. He played safety for the Arizona Cardinals, but he left the team in a $3.6 million contract to enlist in the U.S. Army. He was devastated by the events of September 11, 2001, and he and his brother, Kevin, enlisted on May 31st, 2002. Kevin gave up a chance in professional baseball as he already signed a contract with the Cleveland Indians. Pat Tillman played for Arizona State. In 1997 was voted the Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year. Academically, Tillman majored in marketing and graduated in 3.5 years with a GPA of 3.85. Pat participated in the initial invasion of Iraq and then returned to Fort Benning, Georgia, and completed Ranger training in November 2003. He was subsequently deployed to Afghanistan and based at Operating Base Salerno. On April 22, 2004, he was killed in a friendly fire incident, but Pat was awarded the Silver Star for Valor and the Purple Heart. What Pat Tillman did, leading an amazing career in football to serve his country, exemplifies what being a veteran is all about: service to others and love of country. Now let me ask 2 questions. By show of hands, how many know someone serving in the military today? That's a good number. There are 325 million Americans today. We have 3 million serving the armed forces. That is less than 1% attendance. Let me ask a second question. By show of hands, how many know a family that has had a veteran killed on active duty? In Lake County, 23 veterans have been killed since September 11, 2001. These families are referred to as Gold Star families. If a family has someone serving now, they are referred to as a Blue Star family. In my generation, we all knew someone on active duty, and we all knew a family that lost a loved one due to World War II or Korea. I had an uncle taken prisoner in Korea. He served at the 7th Division, and I would later serve in that same division. When entering the military, everyone swears an oath of allegiance to protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, so help me God. Every veteran when he dies will have the flag of the United States draped on his casket and presented to the family. I don't want to repeat a history class for you, but I do want you to visualize Valley Forge, December 1777. Put the image of George Washington crossing Delaware in your mind. Thomas Paine wrote at that time in his pamphlet, American Crisis, "These are the times that try men's souls, the summer soldier and the sunshine patriot. In this crisis will shrink from their duties." In Washington's army, desertions were taking place. The army is starving. Little pennies to keep out the cold. Clothing is now rags. Many do not have boots but are wearing rags around their feet. Washington has just enough ammunition for one good battle. Using oxen, he brought 50 cannons that were captured from the British to Fort Ticonderoga. No simple task, or there are no roads to transport the cannons and bridges across the river. But these cannons made it across the Delaware River, and Washington defeated the Hessians, German mercenaries, the most powerful army of the time, and turned defeat into victory. Washington crossed the Delaware with 2,500 men. 2,500 men to give us the freedom and independent country we enjoy today. In October 1781, the British surrendered to Washington. The British band played the tune, "A World Turned Upside Down." We were the great experiment, a government governed by a constitution. The military would take an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. In 1804, Thomas Jefferson sent U.S. Marines to Tripoli to free U.S. merchant seamen who were being taken prisoner and sold into slavery by Muslim pirates. This venture would earn the respect of British Marines who had spared the Marine Corps Commandant's house when they burned Washington in 1812. Of course, General Andrew Jackson defeated the British in New Orleans after the treaty was signed in 1814. Twice we have gone to war to save Europe. World War I and World War II. Both times we tried to find permanent peace with the League of Nations and later the United Nations. In 1950, with the approval of the UN, we fought the North Koreans and later Communist China. The war has not ended. The fighting stopped with a truce signed in 1953. Right now, we have 3 aircraft carriers task force off the Korean Peninsula. This includes Reagan, the Roosevelt, and the USS Nimitz. We have a rogue nation in Korea with a nuclear device and intercontinental missile capability. Its leader, Kim Jong-un, has publicly threatened Guam with a missile strike. I was in Korea in 67-68. In January 68, the North Koreans captured the USS Pueblo, taking 83 sailors as prisoners. They endured 11 months of torture. In that same month, 30 North Korean saboteurs attacked the Blue House, now that's the Korean White House, and attempted to kill President Park. All were killed but one, who attempted suicide as his grenade was attacked. In 1968, over 60 American servicemen were killed in the DMZ, and America began to use Agent Orange, a defoliant, in the DMZ in Korea, as well as Vietnam. Keep in mind, we did not sign a treaty, and this is the legacy we leave for today's military. I'm telling you this because we have a long history of being a defensive army. We freed the Cubans, the Puerto Ricans, and the Philippines from Spain in 1898. We forged a truce with North Korea. And in 1973, we signed a treaty with North Vietnam, but we failed to honor that commitment to defend South Vietnam. These were political decisions and not the commitment of our veterans. The war on terrorism is listed as beginning with the bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Lebanon on October 23, 1983, where we lost 241 Marines. It extends through September 11, 2001 into Afghanistan and to a forgotten operation in Somalia, where on October 3, 1993, we literally pitted our finest soldiers against warlords and bandits, the Battle of Mogadishu, Somalia. We were trying to ensure that the relief supplies for refugees were being distributed and kept from the bandits. Instead, we ended up in a battle referred to as Black Hawk Down and the capture of Chief Warrant Officer Michael Durant. Sergeant First Class Randy Shugart and Master Sergeant Gary Gordon, both assigned to Delta Force, went to Durant's aid and were surrounded. And after expending all ammunition, Randy Shugart gave Durant the weapon and apologized for not doing more. He was killed. Durant was captured and later released. I mention this story as another example of courage being an uncommon virtue among our veterans. They gave their last full measure of devotion, and they were awarded the Medal of Honor. I believe that many are taking our freedoms for granted. A great deal has changed since September 2001. Our freedoms are being eroded by non-nation state terrorists who have caused our government to provide greater security at the risk of eroding our privacy and our freedoms. Gone are the days that we can board a plane without going through a screening process. You have great history and social study teachers here at Mundelein. And if you paid close attention to the classes, you all know what sacrifices have been made to give you the freedoms that you enjoy today. If you're keeping up with current events, you know that these freedoms are under attack. What we used to call MAD, mutual assured destruction between the Soviet Union and the United States, doesn't work now. With rogue nations in Iran and North Korea. We are at the most dangerous time in our nation's history since the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. We're also still engaged in a 20-year war in Afghanistan, where ISIS and the Taliban not only threaten the freedom of the Afghan people, but has really taken the freedom of thousands of Afghan children. Alan J. Lynch of Gurney, Illinois, received the Medal of Honor for his actions in saving the lives of 3 men at the risk of his own in Vietnam. Alan has repeatedly stated that his hatred for bullies fueled his reasons for joining the Army. He is a man of great compassion for all veterans, and his integrity is unquestionable. Alan exemplifies for all veterans service above self and fealty to God, country, and family. That's what veterans do. They put others first. Today is Veterans Day. It's a day that we put veterans first. We honor not just those who fought for us in battle, but in fact all the outstanding men and women who served in our nation's armed forces since our founding more than 241 years ago. Our government has made mistakes, but our veterans have remained steadfast and loyal to the Constitution. We have been at war in Afghanistan now for 17 years. We have fought the Taliban and ISIS to give the people freedom and stop the terrorists before they come to the United States. As there's no longer a draft, guardsmen and reservists are going on 3rd and 4th deployments to pick up the slack. Freedom and the right to vote is our gift to you. Yet, only 52% of the eligible voters voted in the 2016 election. ISIS and the Taliban are international terrorists without home state. To defeat them, we need a strong military, but we also need good citizens who will have their back and demand an end game when we commit our military. If we are going to defend our nation, we also need rules of engagement that will protect our soldiers. Our military is the best educated, best disciplined, and the most courageous people in the world. They know what service to others mean and are willing to give their lives to save others. And they know that the need for freedom knows no borders. Education is the key to democracy, but it only works in nations where the populace is educated. Again, to serve America, not everyone needs to be in the military, but everyone needs to support our military. Each time when our service members return home under the flag of our country, we need to pray for them and their family. I know the power of prayer. I know that I can count them. Ronald Reagan said, in America, we are all free to be what God created us to be. In closing, I recently visited Arlington National Cemetery. I was part of the Lake County Honor Flight. There were 22 veterans from Lake County, and 12 of us belonged to the Lake Zurich American Legion. It was memorable to visit the memorials of 12 comrades. We participated in a reclaim ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown. I then visited the grave of Michael Wilson, a high school classmate. Mike quit school at 17 and joined the Navy. He became part of what we refer to as the Brownwater Navy, where he piloted a river patrol boat. In 1965, Mike's boat came under fire. His shipmate was wounded and fell into the Mekong River. Mike went after him, got him back on board, and then manned a 50 caliber machine gun. He was then hit by shrapnel from a rocket-propelled grenade and was badly wounded in the right arm. Mike spent over a year in rehab from his injuries. He was awarded the Silver Star for gallantry and the Purple Heart. He suffered from PTSD, yet he wanted to serve and became an employment service officer for disabled veterans. Mike, more than anyone, knew the importance of education and had obtained a GED while on active duty and encouraged all his clients to continue their education. He was nationally recognized by the DAV for his employment efforts. Mike would have graduated with me in the class of '66 and wanted to participate in class reunions. I went to the school board and asked about an honorary high school diploma from Galesburg High School. The superintendent said no. I appealed to the school board and they voted yes. And Mike became only the second person honored. The other was an author from Galesburg who never went to the high school, Carl Sandburg, a veteran who served in Puerto Rico during the Spanish-American War. Sandburg was Lincoln's most famous biographer, and I think he would have been proud of my friend Mike. I gave the eulogy at Mike's funeral last August. The shrapnel was still coming out of him, and it's believed that the shrapnel in his brain caused his death. Mike was in constant pain, but till the end, he still wanted to serve. One final note, scholarships. Every year, the veterans organizations, VFW, American Legion, VAD, award need-based scholarships. and monies for essay and speech competitions. These money goes unused as few students take advantage. Monies are awarded at the local, state, and national level. Competitions at different ages. Shown here is Al Lynch as he presents awards to Lauren Carlson and Kenzie Tolan. They were the only ones that entered the competition that year. So please go online and take advantage. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Colonel Peck, for your words today, for helping us understand the importance of the memorial of today's events. To our students, our singers, and musicians, thank you for adding to the dignity of this day. To the students, staff, and board members who assisted in the outstanding community flag display. Thank you. Special thank you to Mr. Chris LaJoya for putting together today's events. And finally, to our guests, our veterans, thank you for your service, for the ultimate sacrifice, for protecting our liberties and our freedoms. Thank you. This concludes our Veterans Day Assembly. At this time, students and staff, please return to class. Our veterans, please remain seated. Thank you.